Is hour number 2 live at Social Taco. This is three-man front on Jocks. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. We've already talked to Mike Griffith from the AJC, DogNation.com. We're hoping to catch up with Andrew Monaco, who is the voice of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies, in just a couple minutes. Talk about the big game coming up this weekend with the Auburn Tigers. A little bit later in the show, David Waters is going to be on from Gators Breakdown Podcast. We'll get his thoughts on what is happening with the Florida Gators, if there's any movement to oust Billy Napier as the head coach. Evie Van Pelt, one of our favorites here on the program, she will join us later on, talk about the Ole Miss LSU game, and Dimitri Ravanos from SEC Unfiltered a little bit later. But let's go to the wonderful state of Texas and talk to the voice of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies. Andrew Monaco joins us now on Three-Man Front. Andrew, I hope you're doing well on this beautiful Tuesday.
It is a beautiful Tuesday. Doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, listen, the pleasure's all ours. And, man, what a game coming up this weekend at Kyle Field. I know you guys coming off the big win in South Bend, Indiana. Meanwhile, Auburn kind of obviously licking their wounds after a tough one in Norman, Oklahoma. Just tell us about the feeling, how much of the fans and everyone getting riled up for this one coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, SEC opener for Texas A&M, while Auburn already has one under their belt. And, look, I know Auburn's not in the top 25, but it's a top 25 matchup, if you ask me, because there's just so many pieces to each of these teams and who's going to play to their strengths. A lot of excitement, obviously, coming off the win at Notre Dame. Big stage for Texas A&M and a thrilling finish to that, which is something that the team has really preached this spring and summer and fall, that you have to finish, because they left an awful lot out there at the end of last season, Auburn being one of those games last November. So that's a really good feeling going into a bye week. And as Mike Elko said, that's great. Great week. We'll find out Saturday when they run out of the tunnel, but very good to be in this position as opposed to, they were really close and just didn't. This time they did, and I thought they did it on the national stage.
Andrew, just 3 games into this 2025 season, but who and what have been the pleasant surprises for Mike Elko and the Texas A&M Aggies?
Wide receivers, bringing in Mario Craver from Mississippi State and bringing in Casey Concepcion from NC State. It gives the Aggies something I don't think they've had in a while, is explosive wide receivers. They've had good ones, but mostly possession receivers, and I think you could try to take away the running game because the Aggies really weren't going to go over the top. Now they can, and the catch and run from this, they are absolutely game breakers, and it's what's helped make Marcel Reed a better quarterback. That's what's been really exciting. I think it's been something that has not been here for a while. When you talk about Mario Craver and what he's done in the first 3 weeks, when you start saying numbers comparable to Christian Kirk, that's pretty special around here. When you talk about the Mike Evans and the Josh Reynolds, those were wide receivers that we hadn't seen in a while. So I would say Craver and Concepcion on the outside, and also Terry Busty as a kick returner and Casey Concepcion as a punt returner. You've got to be pretty locked in on special teams. You guys know that those yards mean so much to an outcome of a game.
Talking to the voice of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies, joins us here on Three-Man Front. Let's talk about the quarterback, because I know you just mentioned the wide receivers, but just talk about how Reed has obviously improved even more over the summer. And, man, just the way that he was not only doing things that everyone thinks he's going to do in regards to running the football, but, man, just some of the passes and some of the tight windows he was able to hit in South Bend. That impressed a lot of people around the SEC. Talk about Reed for a little bit.
Mike Elko was saying for Marcel, now he understands what it means to be QB1 in the SEC. He, as a freshman when he came in, he was number 4. And then by the time that season ended, he was in for Jalen Henderson after one play in a bowl game, but just completely different. Last year, he worked his way into the backup for Connor Wigman and then was a starter. This offseason, completely different. Now, he's the guy, that leadership. Can he throw? That was always the thing. Mike always jokes that in the old days, when you talked about a dual-threat quarterback, that used to mean you can't throw, that you were just a runner. And I think that was the one question about Marcel. Could he throw? Well, he helped bring in KC and he helped bring in Mario. And Casey Concepcion, after their first practice, told Mike Elko, look, this kid can really spin it, kind of validating that decision. I just think he's more comfortable. He understands all that goes with being the QB1. And that's a Monday through Friday thing, and that's a leadership thing, and that's understanding in the huddle. And you saw it on the last drive. There was no panic from Marcel Reed. Not everything went right on that last drive at Notre Dame. But that really has been Marcel even last year. If you go back to the bowl game in Las Vegas, he led that drive. USC would score late on the defense. He did it after the Aggies fell behind against Auburn, brought them back into the game. It's funny, I've said this for a while, like, does he have it? And I think he does, and I think it's all those characteristics that make him the number one quarterback for Texas A&M, and really that's all that matters. It's an offensive line that I think he trusts. He's been sacked just twice this season. I think he trusts that he's got a running game that takes some of the pressure off him, and then when it's time to make those throws, he makes the throws. He's still growing in this role. That's the thing, but I think he's got the makeup to keep getting better game in and game out.
Andrew, if there's a vulnerability or a weakness for this year's Fighting Texas Aggies squad, where would it be?
I think it's the consistency on defense. I like everybody who has come back on defense. They haven't been as focused as I think Mike Elko would want. And yet, giving up, I know it's 40 against Notre Dame. There was the block punt to start that game. It's that focus and being firm against the run. They have been gouged by some runs in the first three games against some good running backs, and especially when you have Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price at Notre Dame. But that has to be corrected. And yet, there were moments at Notre Dame, a couple of fourth down stops, turnover on downs, and the stops that turned into field goals and not touchdowns. When you go back collectively and look at that helped decide the game. But I'm not sure they put together a full 60 minutes. They haven't been good for some reason coming out in the second half. That's when the big gouging runs have come. I think that's been a little bit of the disappointment with so many of these guys coming back. Will it be something that comes together over the course of the season? We'll see, because I thought this defense might be one of the strong points. Right now it's the offense that might be a little bit ahead of the defense.
Andrew, in regards to the rest of the Southeastern Conference, I understand you guys have not played a game yet in the conference, but you consume as much football like the rest of us. In regards to this Southeastern Conference, when we left Atlanta, many people said that there's 4 teams that we believe is going to make the college football playoff. But I think we can all agree now, after the first month of the season, that we think the SEC and the rest of college football is wide open. Do you agree with that assessment this early period in SEC play, that this thing could potentially be wide open for anybody?
Yeah, I do. Now, again, it's September, and this is where I caution everybody. Look, we have not even begun the gauntlet that all 16 of these teams have to do in the SEC, and that will filter out an awful lot. I think it's going to expose some frauds. I think it's going to firm up some teams that are really good and the confidence. But guys, I've got to say this. This is the funny thing. Like the Joel Klatts of the world and the Big Ten, who all take a shot at the SEC and they're tired of it. They don't have to play this schedule every year. Like, they don't have to do this year in and year out. You guys remember the old divisions, just getting out of the SEC West. Well, that was hard enough. Like I don't think people understood that. Now you have the round robin. I don't think they understand that Vanderbilt's not the same team, and South Carolina's not the same team. And yes, you can have some teams that are struggling, but consistently week in and week out. I mean, that's a touchdown difference, and even probably less than a touchdown difference. Auburn and Oklahoma in Norman. The Aggie game at Notre Dame, and I considered that a conference game. It was a touchdown difference in that. Like, I know we say that 7 is an awful lot, but in the SEC, one play can really just determine. I think it's going to shake out. I really do, but I think there's going to be a lot of contenders in the SEC, and we just overreact so much in the month of September. Like, how the heck can you even have a Heisman front runner? Like, that's amazing to me. Yeah. There's just way too much season And then you guys know when you get into November, and then it becomes the rivalries and what matters. What teams are ready for it? What teams are not? Who are the contenders? Who are the pretenders? But I think the SEC is really, really strong. And even some of the teams at the top have questions, but it's not like those questions can't be answered over the course of the season.
Andrew, speaking of scheduling, rivalries, and overreaction, LSU, Missouri, Texas, the three permanent opponents for Texas A&M. What's your reaction to those three opponents for the future, and what is the fan base's reaction?
Missouri is the surprise, I think, in this. Texas and LSU is not. I wasn't sure if they would keep Arkansas or not. And we had heard Mississippi State for the longest time. When Ross Bjork was the AD here, and they had discussed going to pods. This was that 2-year break, if you will, when Oklahoma and Texas came in. There was that talk of who was going to be your three permanent rivals, and for the longest time, Mississippi State was in there because the schools then, I think they put in who they wanted. Missouri's a bit of a surprise. Arkansas is actually a longer-running rivalry with Texas A&M than Missouri. Like, we went from Southwest Conference to the Big 12, and the Big 12 didn't last that long. What's interesting is you're putting two schools, Texas A&M and Missouri, that couldn't wait to get out of the Big 12, and now they're going to be playing one another. They put the two schools that came in at the same time, they put in separate divisions. Now all of a sudden they're rivals. That's the one that's surprising. Texas, not surprising. LSU's become a nice rivalry since Texas A&M has come in the SEC, and obviously bordering on the Sabine River, there's a lot that goes on in recruiting as well. So that, to me, would be the surprise. I thought it was going to be Mississippi State. I thought in the outside chance to keep that long-standing Southwest Conference rivalry with Arkansas, but not the case. And the SEC usually has been pretty good about keeping rivalries, even from other conferences, together. Now, I get that these are the three permanent for the next 4 years. What's going to be exciting, the next step for people, you're going to see more schools. Texas A&M has never had Georgia come to Kyle Field. Texas A&M has never gone to Kentucky. We've been in since 2012, and not to have that in the course of 13 seasons going on 14. And I think COVID was the only reason why we went to Tennessee that year. So I think it's going to be good. I know they talked about having players play more teams in your conference. This is now the start of that.
Andrew, I agree with you 100%. It's crazy to think that Georgia has never been to Kyle Field, but in year one of Texas being in the league, they found their way to Austin. That's just, it's crazy. It's weird, and I'm glad they
don't get me started on the schedules between Oklahoma and Texas in the first 2 years in the SEC.
Listen, we are in 100% agreement with you, and we are literally a rock's throw from the Southeastern Conference headquarters. So trust me, we are with you on the same page there. Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies, joining us here on Three Man Front. Andrew, thank you for the time. Thank you for the preview of the game coming up this weekend. It should be a really good one, and hope you'll come back.
Looking forward to it, and I certainly will. Thank you again.
Thank you. That's Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies as they get ready to host the Auburn Tigers coming up this weekend. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
You want to change your life? Got just the place to do it. It's Mandu in downtown Homewood, just a stone's throw away from us here at Social Taco. Each Mandu session begins by changing into the workout clothes. It's a specially designed short and T-shirt set to fit under an electrical suit to conduct electricity. After running your in-body scan, your trainer's going to wet down the electrodes on the suit, help you get strapped in. From there, it's a 15-minute workout. And because of that technology and the deep tissue action you're going to get from those electrodes, 15 minutes equal to 6 hours in a gym. That's right, and it does work. I've done it. Damian Mitchell's done it. So many Jocks listeners have said, thank you, Landrum, for telling us about Mandu. Here's the great thing. Right now at Mandu, you go in, you tell Paul in the gang, you heard it right here on Three Man Front. Your first visit is free. They'll put you through the workout, but 10% off the life of your membership there at Mandu. And if you're a student, you're trying to stay in shape, but you got a busy class schedule, Mandu, perfect for you. You're busy, young people. Guess what? 15 minutes of your day, you can spare that to look and to feel better. Mandu in downtown Homewood, MANDUU.com. Tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from Jock sent you.
Great crowd already assembling here up on top of the terrace, the taco terrace we call it here at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. What a great conversation with Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies. Get ready to host the Auburn Tigers coming up this weekend. You know, Landrum, just when you thought it couldn't get any better here at Social Taco, and, you know, we just talk about the chicken feathers all the time and the seasoning that they put on the chicken feathers. They're now sprinkling it on the chips for the chips and salsa.
Yeah, I don't think we're too far off from Dave, the owner of all of these great establishments, putting this stuff, this proprietary blend, in a bottle and selling
just
it.
Just got a chip with some of the seasoning on it.
I put it on everything. I've gotten to where I did a burger with it the other night.
So
I've done it in my scrambled eggs, steamed broccoli. Hit it with that. I usually do a little lemon pepper, but I did that. I guess we need to prompt bottle.
Fantastic.
So by themselves. And don't forget about brunch on the weekends here at Social Taco, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 2:30, the bottomless tapas brunch, socialtaco.bar for more information.
So there's been a little bit of line movement I saw this morning. I'm double-checking something. It has nothing to do with Alabama or Auburn's game, but there's a very interesting game going to happen over in Oxford, Mississippi. And now that we know that Lane Kiffin's daughter is dating an LSU football player, you just wonder what exactly is going to happen. So Ole Miss is currently a 1.5-point favorite over LSU. At one point this morning, it had almost got down to a pick'em. And now it's back up to 1.5 for Ole Miss.
What's the do you have the point total there?
I do, 54.5.
Well, that's
Ooh.
what one of the coaches said to play the over, so
No,
maybe we should
Lane
just
said
stick
it.
with
That would be Lane Kiffin.
You're right.
Yeah, he said to take the over.
So for those that did not see it, Molly alerted me of it yesterday afternoon right before we went off the air. So is it a picture of Lane Kiffin's daughter sitting in the lap of the LSU linebacker? Is that correct?
Correct. They are officially Instagram official, as we in my generation like to call it, a hard launch.
Keep your enemies closer.
That's one way to look at
So
it.
it's a hard launch on Instagram.
Yeah, but they look so cute. Whit Weeks plays for LSU with Landry.
And then Lane tweeted out, or somebody, I guess, sent maybe a quote tweet to Lane, and then Lane responded to that quote tweet, and he said, take the over.
He did say that. He also, so back in May, he posted a family picture of them from the beach when she was a little girl, and he quote tweeted it saying, "We will be rooting for the Rebs." So I guess his
He's telling
daughter-
her you're going to be
Yes,
yeah.
you're still going to cheer for Ole Miss.
Well, this is blatant tampering.
You think so?
Yeah.
How can you not love college football, though?
This is tampering.
This is awesome.
What year is Whit Weeks?
I can look it up.
I know what your angle is here.
You know what's coming, right? Those conversations have already been had. I'm just wondering
He
what
is
the
a
price
sophomore.
tag. What is the price tag to get him to Oxford, Mississippi?
So is he 21?
He's 20.
yeah, he'll be a rebel,
Think so.
or he's going to leverage that and be one of the highest-paid LSU Tigers next year.
So, friend of the program, Trey Wallace, tweeted, "I really love college football. Lane Kiffin's daughter is letting the public know she's dating LSU linebacker Whit Weeks 5 days before the two teams play. This is peak mind games." And Lane Kiffin retweeted it and responded with, "Take the over."
That tells me there's not enough guys to go around there at Ole Miss. Right?
I think Brian Kelly's more upset about this than anybody because if you remember in the Any Given Saturday documentary, you had Brian Kelly's dad telling him, hey, Ole Miss could win the whole thing last year. So his family's big Ole Miss supporters, so I'm sure he's not thrilled with this.
I can be corrected, but I was told by an Ole Miss graduate one time that the girl-to-guy ratio at Ole Miss was 3-1.
Oh, when I was in high school and they
And that
would
if
go
you were a guy that might be considered by ladies as a 5, you could probably land a 9 at Ole Miss because there's not enough to choose from for the girls.
No, of all
Go
the
ahead.
SEC schools I considered when I was coming out of high school, I talked to people from Ole Miss, and that was literally their recruiting pitch was, well, do you like attractive women? You should come to Ole Miss. Nothing about the academics, not even anything about athletics. It was just, if you're a guy and you like pretty girls, then you should come to Oxford.
Yeah.
All right, so the latest statistics I have is fall of 2023. It's 57-43.
Nah, it's not
okay.
3-1 then.
57% female to 43% male.
Well, they've
That's-
diversified. That's good to see.
That's the breakdown.
It's still not. It's not bad. If you're a dude.
If you go around SEC country, you're going to see a lot of 5s with 9s. So I think we would all agree. Agree with that.
That's
A
true.
lot of folks out kicking their coverage.
Yeah, one way or
And I can
another.
say that because I did it with my wife. So.
Yeah, we all did.
Wow.
We all did.
Man, that was a kind of a shocking picture. We'll talk to Evie Van Pelt about this a little bit later
I think they're cute together.
from the Rebel Walk.
How long do you think they've been together? Just based on the picture, they looked very comfortable around each other.
If you look at the picture, is there like a calendar up on the back of the wall? I mean, is there anything that you could tell us, being a private investigator, to figure out when these two lovebirds
I'm
became
checking one of my sources. Hold
Well,
on.
just by outfits, it looks like warm weather, summertime.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that this happened in the last couple of weeks in the middle of the season.
I'm telling you, you guys are missing it not being on TikTok, because if you're on TikTok, you can, if you follow Landry, a lot of times she'll have a get ready with me, and Lane Kiffin is sitting right next to her.
They are awesome, those videos.
And Lane Kiffin is like literally saying, well, what are you putting on your face? Like, what is that? Is that rouge? Is that, you remember that last one?
Oh, yeah.
They did about a week ago? Yeah. It's really funny.
Have they settled all that with TikTok as far as the board and everything else?
I think so.
I'm just waiting until everything gets settled where I can come back.
Oh, so you've been off because of that?
Yeah.
Well, I got a message the other day that you were on TikTok.
Oh, I've got an account.
You just don't want all your info going to China.
Sure. That was actually part of it. And then I thought TikTok was going away, but apparently they found a way to monetize it.
Well, and we all know the second TikTok
Here.
goes away, there'll be another replacement within 24 hours.
Of course.
I think they've already made a couple.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just looking at the point spread, it appears that no movement in the Auburn-Texas A&M game.
What is LSU Ole Miss right now?
It is 1.5 Ole Miss.
Yeah. I like the Rebs at home. And I think their defense, that was a wake-up moment against Tulane last weekend. Pete Golden kind of challenging that defense, and I don't think that bodes well for LSU based on what we've seen in the last couple of games. Maybe they come out and they establish a running game, and Nussmeier has a Heisman-type day, but I think that's a tough ask, LSU fans, and I like Ole Miss in this one.
So think about this for a second. So I'm sitting here looking at the Tennessee-Mississippi state line. It's 7.5 Tennessee over Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought in a million years we would be in the first month of the season? If you go back to SEC football media days, who in the world would have thought that Mississippi State would only be a touchdown underdog to Tennessee?
And I saw that Tennessee team play, and that Tennessee team, as good as they are offensively, they got some vulnerabilities on the defensive side. And
Do you think Mississippi State can take
I think
advantage
Mississippi State absolutely can, Pat. I think that this has a more than average chance, a better than average chance of being a one-score ball game in the fourth quarter.
The last time that Mississippi State was 4-0 was 2014, and that was the year that they were ranked number 1.
it? That's right.
Just saying.
Dak Prescott, the first ever college football playoff rankings.
That place will be lit.
Yep.
I did some investigative journalism here. So I actually, according to my sources, apparently they've been dating since early September.
Oh, so
September?
we're like
Yes.
3 weeks into this.
What?
thing.
Yes,
3 weeks ago.
Oh,
because
this is not good for you, LSU.
so apparently
She's a plant.
Lane's daughter had posted a get ready with her, one of those videos that Pat was talking about, with Witt's sister.
Oh.
And they
okay.
were in Baton Rouge. And like I said, that was September 9th, so a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Wow, he's already sent her into enemy territory. Yeah, this is. I think you're right, Landrum.
So, but they just became Insta official, so it's really, really official.
Yeah.
And that video has since been deleted.
She's probably really crafty how she gets that information out, and Witt's probably like, oh, yeah, she likes me.
Oh, boy.
And she's reporting it all back to Dad.
Well, hopefully they won't find any cracks in the foundation of their love.
Aw.
Because if you're a homeowner and you see cracks in your foundation, that means you need to call APS, Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717. You know, they can fix your foundation. They can even tackle that sinking driveway or patio with their fast and clean poly-level system. So for foundation issues, wet basements, or sinking concrete, do yourself a favor. Call APS, 205-951-9717. Or simply go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com. APS has been protecting Alabama homes since 1977, and they'll protect yours too. 205-951-9717.
How long before Florida head coach Billy